Okay, so today we have something different. Today we're gonna talk to ChatGPT. As people already know, the voice interpretation of ChatGPT is amazing. So I thought, why not do the debate? Why not debate with ChatGPT about certain topics which would be beneficial to the viewers as such and to myself? Because it's the start of the day and we gotta start our day with our best of best. And the only thing that's good for a human is our human consciousness. And in order to expand the consciousness, I was like, you know what? At this moment, ChatGPT is the best we got if we want to debate on certain topics. Obviously, it's politically aligned left, but hey, let's debate and let's see what it has to offer. And is it of any good, or is it just a bit of hype? Hello. Hello.
Hey, welcome back. What's on your mind?
I was thinking of having a critical debate about economy.
That sounds interesting. What topic do you want to debate?
Let's talk about our economy at this moment.
Sure. The current state of the economy is a big topic. Are you thinking about discussing specific aspects like inflation, unemployment, or the impact of recent policies?
Just bring on a point and I'll debate on it.
Okay. One point to consider is the rising inflation rates. Many people are feeling the pinch in their everyday expenses, which can lead to a decrease in consumer spending. Do you think inflation is the biggest challenge facing the economy right now?
Yes, but there's other couple factors as well because most people are feeling the inflation not just because of the prices going up and the lack of that kind of coordination, but I think the more kind of painful aspect is that people are not earning more. I think that is a major factor. If we take into a consideration that people right now are making only 30% higher than they were making 20 years ago, but the prices have gone 300 400% up. So obviously the cost of living has dramatically increased, but the earning has relatively been it's still the same.
That's a powerful point. The disparity between wage growth and the rising cost of living is a significant issue. It creates a sense of economic insecurity for many people as they struggle to keep up with expenses. Do you think this wage stagnation is primarily due to factors like automation, changes in the job market, or perhaps inadequate labor policies? Or is it a combination of many elements?
I think it's a combination of all. But let's talk about why these things really happen. Is it because the government doesn't care about people, or is it because there's a lot more people?
That's an important question. It could be seen as a combination of government policies, corporate interests, and broader economic trends. Some argue that governments might prioritize business interests over workers' rights, leading to stagnation in wages. Others believe that globalization and automation have shifted jobs and reduced bargaining power for workers. What's your take? Do you think it's primarily a lack of government action, or are there deeper systemic issues at play?
I think the point that you brought up is perfect. Globalization, because right now, if the company can make the person work for $10, why they should pay $100 for the same work? So I think globalization is a major factor in that. On top of that, after COVID, it gave companies a sense of free will to kind of go anywhere and get workers from any other country, because before that it was a bit too difficult to kind of coordinate the online work. But COVID allowed people to actually shift into that dynamic. So I wonder that if COVID was actually a disease, or it was just there for people to shift into that kind of like new era of technology.
That's an intriguing perspective. Globalization has definitely changed the landscape for companies, allowing them to find cheaper labor in different countries. The shift to remote work during COVID accelerated this trend, making it easier for businesses to hire from anywhere. Your question about whether COVID was a catalyst for change is thought-provoking. Some might argue that it forced a re-evaluation of work and productivity, pushing us into a new era of technology. Others see it as a challenging time that exposed vulnerabilities in our systems. Do you think the changes we've seen in the job market and work culture since COVID are mostly positive, or do you see significant downsides?
I haven't seen much of, like, I've seen technological advancement ever since COVID. However, I haven't seen any economic growth on an average person after COVID. There was a significant boom in cryptocurrency and AI during the COVID phase. However, to the average man, the economy has gone down significantly for that person. Okay, let's talk about the fact that how we can come back from this, or is it going to be a position where people are actually going to be able to afford things, or there's going to be a position where people are going to be able to get back to normal or have a sense of living through economic factors.
That's a crucial point. While technology has advanced, the average person often hasn't felt the benefits in their daily lives. The boom in sectors like cryptocurrency and AI hasn't translated into broader economic growth for everyone. To recover, there might need to be a focus on policies that promote wage growth, affordable housing, and access to education and skills training. Investing in local economies and supporting small businesses could also help. Do you think government intervention is necessary to facilitate this recovery, or do you believe the market will eventually correct itself?
I do not think that the market is gonna automatically adjust to these changes, because especially with AI as well, 90% of the tasks can be automated now. So obviously, if you take into that consideration, that 90% automated tasks gonna lead to at least 60-70% reduction in employment, and that's a significant number when you talk about millions of people trying to get a job, but only 50% are needed in this case. So obviously that there needs to be another factors, maybe a global kind of like fund or other source of income which would allow people to actually have that minimum viable livability. So I do not see the economy adjusting to this kind of like new trend or new era by itself. There needs to be an intervention, because we have to think of this way. Ever since during our history, during the human history, a man was just replaced by a man. Okay, a tool created. That tool was still kind of like man's tool, if that makes sense. It didn't. It wasn't there where it can have its own consciousness. But AI, when we talk about AGI, is reaching to the point where it can have its own consciousness, which is very different from building a tool. If I built a iron rock or iron nail, that still requires 20, 30 different people to work on. But if I built an AI tool, it can do the work for 50 different people. So we have to think about this way. AI is different because this era have never been seen before, because human consciousness is kind of going head to head between artificial general intelligence. So yeah.
You've raised some compelling points about the unique challenges posed by AI and automation. The potential for AI to replace a significant portion of jobs is concerning, and your idea about a global fund or safety net for people makes sense in light of this shift. As you mentioned, the historical context of tools requiring human labour is different from AI, which can operate independently and efficiently. This shift might require a fundamental re-evaluation of our economic systems and how we view work. Concepts like universal basic income or retraining programs could become essential to support those displaced by automation. Do you think society is ready to have these discussions and implement such radical changes, or do you see resistance from certain groups or sectors?
I've already seen major banks talk about the shift in value, because think of it this way: if there's no money coming in, how are the banks gonna pay back the credits that they generated from Federal Reserves? So obviously banks do need to think of how they can actually think of that value as such. So they are already having debates, because mind you, banks are at major risk, because
You're right. Banks are indeed in a precarious position. If many people are unable to earn a living due to job displacement from automation, it could lead to lower consumer spending, making it harder for banks to collect loans and maintain profitability. As you mentioned, discussions about the shift in value are already happening. Institutions might need to rethink their business models and how they generate revenue in an economy where traditional employment is declining. Do you think this could lead to more innovation in banking and finance, like developing new financial products or services that cater to a changing workforce? Or will the focus remain on maintaining the status quo?
That's interesting, because how I see it is that there needs to be a new products, obviously, for people that do not have the capability of paying back the loans, paying back the interest, and actually viewing the money as such. Maybe we would get to the stage where we would go back to the gold reserve, because it would obviously target so many issues that we are facing, because in that case we wouldn't depend completely on the Federal Reserve, because right now Federal Reserve isn't backed by gold, and if it's not backed by gold, it can be infiltrated in any way, because right now we are saying that the money is being printed without any consequences, which are leading to money in the economy being circulated in tremendous amount. And this would lead, or this has led to, a lot of increase in prices and inflation as such. But obviously, in order to kind of rethink of money as such, we need to go back into the actual value of money. Because if money can be printed out of thin air by Federal Reserve, why is that that the prices go significantly up, but then ultimately Federal Reserve are tied to the federal banking, and then the federal banking is tied to government, the Fed as such. And if the government can't actually increase the income, but then they can increase the money, that would lead to a significant disparity amongst the common citizen.
You've made some valid points about the complexities of our current monetary system. The idea of going back to a gold standard is a topic that surfaces periodically, especially during times of economic uncertainty. Tying currency to a physical asset like gold could indeed provide more stability, as it would limit the ability to print money without corresponding value. However, shifting to such a system also comes with challenges, like reducing flexibility in monetary policy, which can be crucial in responding to economic crises. Balancing the need for stable currency with the flexibility to manage economic fluctuations is a tricky issue. Your insights about the disconnect between money supply and real economic growth highlight significant concerns. If income isn't rising alongside inflation, it creates a challenging environment for everyday citizens. Do you think there's a viable path forward that involves reforming the current system without resorting to a gold standard? Or do you see that as an inevitable step we might need to consider?
I don't see any other method working because let's say if we talk about cryptocurrency, I mean, sure that if we talk about Bitcoin, which is kind of similar to what do you call it, the gold reserve, because in this case there's so much energy that you can spend on computation that there's only so much limitation and liquidity in the circulation for Bitcoin that can be generated, that has the circulation flow. So Bitcoin could be an option. However, I still see that in future Bitcoin can also be infiltrated in any way. Let's say if we get to supercomputers, and not just supercomputer, if we talk about quantum computing, in that case you can significantly accelerate the computational power, and in that case again, if we give cryptocurrency or Bitcoin to Fed, they can, once they receive that quantum computing, they'll still go back into accelerating that computation and again printing a bit more money, or in this case Bitcoin.
You bring up an important consideration regarding the potential vulnerabilities of cryptocurrency, especially with the advent of quantum computing. If quantum computing becomes widely accessible, it could pose significant challenges to the security and integrity of current cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin. Your point about the energy and resource limits of Bitcoin is also relevant, as it mirrors some aspects of a gold standard in terms of scarcity. However, as you noted, the introduction of powerful computing could disrupt that scarcity, leading to concerns about the value and security of cryptocurrencies. This highlights the ongoing challenge of finding a stable and secure monetary system in a rapidly evolving technological landscape. Do you think we might need to consider new forms of digital currencies or frameworks that can address them?
Alright, so I don't know what happened. Okay, so we're gonna end this video here, and because we're gonna keep on talking about the economic factor, it's not gonna get us to anywhere anyhow. But there were a couple important points that we talked about: gold reserved, cryptocurrency, and inflation. Let me know what you think about it. And for the next video, I'm thinking of doing a political discussion. So I'm literally, after this video, I'm gonna record a political discussion with it. I'm gonna talk about Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Who does she support and why? Because I already know this is gonna support Kamala Harris because it's filled with liberal toxicity. But anyhow, let me know what you think about it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.